it's come out that White House-funded groups, Acorn and others, I mean, here's the actual ad, defend President Obama's health care plan over August recess, $500 a week. Now is your chance to make health care work. Here they are, jobsthatmatter.org, a Democratic-funded group, paying people, and then they got caught. Obama camp plant fake document, and Che Guevara fan at Jackson Lee Forum, and they got caught with this woman who works for this lady right here in the shot, who works with Obama, famously in the photo with her and Che Guevara. And then here she is faking, going to staged questioners, posing as doctors, saying, so even the few people that they go to at their own town halls, it's staged, Ambassador. They've been accusing us of it being staged. They are caught staging it.
Well, see, but this corresponds, and I hope a lot of people, well, maybe a lot of people don't, but one of the standard practices of the old communists, right, in the 20th century, was to accuse their opponents of doing the things that they themselves do routinely. And that's exactly what has been happening here. That particularly is with respect to these staged meetings. In the Soviet Union and Eastern European countries under communism, under these dictators in the Third World, this idea of the staged event where you pretend you got all kinds of public support when you've actually hand-picked people to come out and do show trials, as it were, and show press conferences and all of this, that's standard practice. These people are simply showing themselves to be exactly what they are, a bunch of leftists following the handbook of the communists, trying to impose this system on the people of the United States against our will with lies and staged manipulations of perception and so forth, exactly as Alinsky and others have recommended to the left-wingers that they do. It also, of course, smacks of the tactics that were used during the era of the first National Socialist push, the right-wing National Socialists. We call them Nazis, right? And they had the same kind of approaches for manipulating politics and practiced the same effort to vilify their opponents and to dehumanize them in various ways with name-calling and junk like this, just as these people are now trying to pretend that anybody who looks at this on the basis of the facts, analyzes it in light of the ideology and what it's all about, calls what they're doing socialism. And you've had these people standing up and saying, well, that's racist. That's just a code word for race. What nonsense is this? Do they really think we're that stupid?
Well, I mean, they clearly, Ambassador, and I want your opinion on this, it's cold-blooded. They know. They took all these well-meaning people that voted for Obama. I know a lot of rednecks around here in Texas did, to prove they weren't, racist, wanting to have, everybody live together in peace. And then now cold-bloodedly, these poverty pimps, these Annenberg Foundation people, these Ford Foundation people, knowingly come in and say, if you disagree with cap and trade, if you disagree with his policies on government health care, you are a racist. And I get hundreds of emails a week saying that I'm secretly a white supremacist because we posted the Obama Joker photo saying socialism. I mean, isn't that really the racism, or invoking the racism as divide and conquer cold-bloodedly? Isn't that...
Oh, absolutely. But then, think about it. The whole Obama effort was a cold-blooded invocation of race. Everything about what these people did was a cold-blooded effort to play the race card. And that's what it was all about. And the whole idea that you should vote for somebody not because of the color of their skin, but because of their qualities and characteristics and your agreement with what they were trying to do that was right for the country, that they threw out. And of course, now they want it thrown out because most people look at what he's up to, realize that people like myself were not exaggerating. You had a lot of people said, oh, that's just extremism. You're exaggerating. No, he's not like that. His speeches are so moderate. But that's because, as we're discovering, the man is a pathological liar. I'm sorry. He lies, and he has studied at it. He is skillful at it. He is a shrewd actor, as it were, that turns his whole person and delivery into the lie. But nonetheless, it does not correspond with the truth.
That's what I was going to say is, you live in Illinois, you knew him, and I respect you. I interviewed you for D Magazine back in the mid-90s, interviewed you again on radio many years ago. I respected you and thought that you were right. I just thought, well, Keyes doesn't usually have any rhetoric, but man, is Obama this bad? I mean, I wasn't for Obama, but I remember the speeches you gave and the warnings, and now it's all true. And that's what's concerning me.
This is one of the problems I guess I have in life. I'm dealing with issues right now, whether it's the health care issue, the eligibility issue. People always try to pretend that there's some motive involved. I just try to look at things and call them as I see them. Based on the knowledge and experience that I've had, I try to clearly share with people conclusions that I think make sense. And that's what I tried to do in that case. And the facts were clear. And therefore, I feel that if you're a public person, you have an obligation to share that true understanding as best you can with the people that you're talking to.
Well, since you gave those speeches and talked about him wanting to force abort babies, it's now been confirmed. Let's go over. You know this gentleman. You know who the president really is and who his controllers are. So let us in to your expertise on the other side. Ambassador Keys is our guest.
The New World Order beast is genetically modifying your food, mixing vegetables with animals, and now experimenting with viruses. Without a long-term food solution, you will have just two options: starve, or surrender. All canned food supplies will eventually run out. What then? Grow your own healthy food and feed your family forever. SurvivalistSeeds.com is now the nation's largest bulk heirloom seed company. And it's owned by a real patriot, Big John Lipscomb. You can now have an infinite amount of healthy vegetables like a watermelon, a bundle of carrots, or tomatoes for a little more than a penny each. SurvivalistSeeds.com. And now you can go into business with Big John at SurvivalistSeeds.com by becoming an affiliate. See his link at SurvivalistSeeds.com.
Loyalty to liberty.blogspot.com. Ambassador Keys, are there any other sites or books or materials? What's some of your latest work? The WorldNet Daily articles? For people that want to...
The major outlets for what I write these days, the most important one is Loyal to Liberty. That's Loyal to Liberty, LOYALTOLIBERTY. You can also reach it, by the way, just by typing in AlanKeyes.com, ALANKEYES.com. It goes to the same place because that's now become my major vehicle for sharing on a regular basis thoughts and writings of various lengths with people. I'm also serializing what I hope will become a couple of books that periodically I'm putting chapters up on the blog there for people to look at and so forth. I also am writing for WorldNet Daily, and I'm heavily involved in the work of America's Independent Party, which has a website, AIP News, AIPNEWS, AIPnews.com, which is essentially an effort both to sign up people for a political effort where we're standing on common principles from the get-go and everybody commits to those things so that we're not going to be throwing them aside in order to just achieve office at any price. But it also corresponds to my view that in today's world, if we want to take America back, the people must become the media. We must use the tools that are available so we're no longer relying on the corporate bought and paid for media outlets that now are working for some of these big business enterprises that are essentially the fellow travelers of the Obama socialists.
And that more and more is happening, so they're openly saying with the hate crimes law and the cyberbullying that if something hurts someone's feelings, you're going to be federally charged. That's actually in the bills. I couldn't believe it, and especially the cyberbullying. So they're certainly coming after our free speech. They're not only saying it's socialism is racist, which is incredible race baiting in my opinion, and as you said, cold-bloodedly using it to drive a wedge, but they're now calling for the arrest of people that put up Obama posters on light poles, but Obama was in the Washington Post telling his supporters to put up his hope sign on stop signs, which is illegal. So just the level of hypocrisy.
Well, I think, though, it goes beyond hypocrisy, because hypocrisy would imply that it's almost just a function of the circumstances or particular occasion. It's not. This is the strategy whereby you dehumanize, demoralize, and destroy any opposition. You build up your own camp so that they become the the exclusive access, really, to public opinion. And then you try to mobilize the force of law and law enforcement and the state, eventually including, of course, arresting and trying people and throwing them into jail or camp because they are dissenting from your policy. That's something that was systematically characteristic of these socialist regimes of the right and left, whether it's the Nazi regime or the old Soviet regime. These socialist regimes, all of them took this approach to politics. And, of course, they also adopted the famous Rahm Emanuel repeated dictum that you want to take advantage of a good crisis, right, and advance your agenda using it. And that, of course, includes manufacturing it if you don't have one. So that if you don't have a good crisis, you make one up, you cause one. I think that's one of the reasons why he's so irresponsible about spending.